to see, if you open this up a little bit further, the actual handles. There we go. So you can kind of see the handles on the side here.
Yeah.
And over there.
On the inside?
Yeah, you're basically just lifting those straight up to open and close the windows here. And then these, you can see the handle. Can you see
Yeah,
the handle?
I can see the
kind
handle.
of sort of, yeah. So those guys just twist and then they fold in to lock in. So, yeah, we'll just kind of leave that extended for now.
We'll probably go over this inside, but when you plug in, is there a sequence of events you have to do inside, outside, before, after you plug or unplug?
Yeah, like powering things up and down, that kind of thing.
Or is there a master fuse that you have to turn on or off before you do anything?
We'll cover this, but essentially there's a 12 volt battery disconnect switch. And that basically kills your 12 volt system just to depower it, whether or not you're plugged into shore power. Even if you're plugged in, it still just turns off things like the lights and remotes and things like that. You'll see that. I'll throw it and you'll see what it looks like here in a minute. So there's that kind of master kill switch. But then you can just kind of, what I like to do and recommend doing is going and turning everything off individually. Other than systems like the refrigerator and things like that. Just to kind of give it a soft, it's not so intense to the system when you're turning things on and off.
But it is in this case where we lose power at our property, and the power comes back on.
It kind of does a certain...
Yeah, or even like there's an hour, like so a couple of questions. If the power goes out and I'm there, is there something I need to do here to prepare for when the power comes back on, or?
Right. That's a great question. For one, you've got your surge protector that kind of helps with any sort of too much power coming through, so that's going to help. The other is really, typically you want to try to go major systems off, because you don't want any big voltage things to just pop on, right? Your microwave is actually in a pretty good spot where it has that trigger switch. If it just stays closed, it's not going to pop back on. Your climate control and heating system, I'd say, would probably be one as well. Just turn those off. You'll have the remote to be able to do that in the event of a power outage. You still have your batteries controlling 12 volt systems, and so you can still work the controllers, right? Just set the appliances to off. That's really kind of what you want to do, and I'll show you how to do that. I think the appliances would be the biggest thing I'd be worried about. Just making sure those are just off before the power comes back on, and then soft power them back up, basically.
But if all this happens while I'm not at home, I'm away from the property.
Yeah.
Power goes out. 2 minutes later, it comes back on. I'm not able to do anything about it. I just hope that it all
works out.
Works.
Well, so that's a fair question. What you can do is, that kind of gets into just general living practice, right? And like how you want to actually treat this thing on a day-to-day basis. What you're going to leave on, what you're going to leave off when you leave the trailer versus right when you're working it.
Yeah.
So let's cover that, and then we'll kind of figure out how to protect it ultimately when you're needing to leave and be concerned with power stuff. Because I think we need to get in and kind of look at controls and switches and stuff.
Okay, sure.
And then I'll kind of give you a checklist of what to definitely turn off when you're leaving, and that way you don't have to worry about it.
Even if I'm just leaving to go to the store, right? If I'm leaving it unattended for any period of time, there's some process I need to do.
And you're like, yeah, I gotcha. I'll say this, the biggest consideration is going to be the refrigerator and how to keep that thing powered. That's going to be the thing that we'll need to talk about the most.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll come around to that here in a bit. And I'll show you how it works, how it's powered, and we'll kind of think through this question again. Okay. One thing I want to note here with the awning, you saw how the strap just basically you grab it and hook it here when you want to extend it, whenever that is. So you have a travel safe hook right up here. You basically just flip this.
Oh, I see.
to catch
Yeah.
there. And then let me grab this. I'll show you the tool. This is this guy. You can reach it.
Yeah.
Well, that works too.
I mean, it's a little trickier to get out.
Yeah, it's kind of binding up against the metal there, so that's why you have this. You can kind of just unhook it that way.
So, like that?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's all you gotta do. Just free it up.
And where did you grab
Just
this?
I threw it in the bumper. So kind of the bumper storage right here. So back here, really what we've got, just obviously our bumper storage. Awning rod is what we call this, and then your stabilizer jack rod for the stabilizers, which are on the corners of the trailer here. These are not stick out. Power jacks. Did we get those? Did you have those installed here, or did they come with the trailer? The power, these guys being powered?
No.
Did we talk about that?
No.
No? Okay. So
Not that I recall.
Cool. Well, nonetheless, you've got the power option here. So this is all secondary stuff. You don't need to worry about this. The way it works, though, just so you know, is you basically have the rod will fit here, and then you just basically crank this. But I'm going to show you how it actually works with the power option. Because it's much cooler.
Yeah, I don't remember discussing this. I don't know what we have or don't.
I think this probably came from the factory. We do this as an add-on too, and I can never remember which trailers come with it pre-figured from the factory or not. Basically, your buttons here, front side, rear side, so kind of the rear or the front pair of stabilizers, and you basically just drop them down.
How did you know when to stop?
The motor changed, and I saw the trailer nudge just a little bit.
So you're not. It's true that you're not using this to level it. You're just using it to stabilize it.
That's right. So you actually have to level this thing first. It's a simple process. It's one sequence that you have to work. But basically, the general flow sequence of it is you use the wheels to basically level side to side first. You're kind of working to see level roadside to curbside. And you can basically throw a bubble level on the floor here, just stretching this way, and get it just really as close as you can get it, right? That's where you're using blocks and stuff like that if you need to. It sounds like you might be pretty much there.
I have about the blocks, but I don't know
if you'll need it or
well,
not.
yeah, but I assume that most people probably do.
Most people do, and honestly, what becomes important is the tire care when you have the trailer stationed for a while. I was talking with my shop foreman just a bit ago. Basically, what can happen if a tire sits on one spot for too long, they get actually not just flat spots, they tend to rot out. Yeah, because the moisture and stuff will get trapped, and it will actually eat away at the rubber itself. And so if you put it up on blocks, even if it's level, it gives it less surface area for that moisture to get stuck on it, right? So if you're not moving this trailer for a while, put it on blocks anyway, because I think that will kind of help.
So even if I do put it on blocks, do I need to periodically move
the trailer
roll
around?
it back a foot?
And,
Or,
I
what I
mean,
mean?
if you were to do it that way, like maybe once every other month, like you really wouldn't have to do it every other week, not like every other week kind of thing. I do it maybe every other month.
Okay, but so what you just said, I'm getting at. Because I was thinking to level it, I would only need the blocks on one side, but that wouldn't address the moisture problem on the other side. So do people put blocks under both sides to address that? Just more height on one side than the
Or
other?
they just put the same level, if you're already pretty level on the pad,
Yeah.
like the pad works out, and it's all like, okay, this works. Just put one set of blocks, right, one level of it on each tire.
Do you have any of those here? So I got them at, I don't know, Super Walmart or something, and they're the brand that I've seen that's commonly advertised on Amazon. Hard plastic. Are those strong enough? Will they break down or
I mean,
crack
at
or-
some point, but
if it's sitting on
they're-
for a year?
They should be, honestly, they'll last a while.
Okay.
They come in a set of 10, so I mean, you could always swap them out
Okay.
if one goes down. Yeah, I think you'll be fine with just a set.
Okay.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking for this, is you basically just put the block right under the wheel.
Put one under each wheel
Under
on both
each
sides.
wheels. Yeah.
And if I have to raise one, I put a second one under.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's exactly it.
So, it's not a fine level of adjustment.
No, you're adjusting it by a couple inches.
So it's probably impossible to get it exactly level.
You'll get it close. I mean, it's because you can always. I mean, if
Put napkins under there.
yeah, right. Get some
Look
shit.
like a
sure.
table.
Yeah, cut your shields out of screw wood. You'll get it pretty close. I mean, so a 2-inch rise here on the wheels with how big this is isn't going to be much.
Okay.
You know what I
Okay,
mean?
yeah, I
so I think you're okay to go a block at a time.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's not going to change the angle all that much. Yeah. So anyway, there you go. So that's kind of side to side first on the level, right? So you're driving up, you're still hooked up to the truck, you're backing up, you're moving the trailer itself to get it level side to side.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Tracking it so far? Once you get it level and you're set, lock the wheels down with wheel chocks, right? Just make sure it's not going to roll around.
Do you need to do both sides?
For you, because you're living in it, I chalk the hell out of this
Okay.
thing. I mean, in all honesty, just because you're walking around in it, it's not moving really.
Okay.
I would just absolutely go crazy on the chalking. And primarily because, honestly, as you're walking around inside it, even with the stabilizers down, you're still going to get a little bit of movement. Just a little bit. And then getting it chalked really well will help prevent any of that subtle movements from happening. The stabilizers really work to handle the side-to-side rocking.
I see.
It's the aisle way back and forth that you still kind of feel because the tires are rolling that way, right?
Okay.
So you take that out, and then you're in pretty good shape.
So side to side, get it level.
Side to side,
and
get
go to
level.
the front.
Lock down the wheels, chalk them and all that. Detach the hitch, which again we're going to cover a little bit of a process there. We'll cover that with you a little bit later. And then use the tongue jack to just raise and lower the front end to level it front to back.
Okay.
Right? And then you basically, at that point, you take your level and you just
Yeah.
point it front
The
to
other way.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that's it. And then you're level. Once you're level, drop the stabilizers.
Wait, you said drop the stabilizers when you're level side to side.
No, you do it at the end. Stabilizers are at the end.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I misunderstood. You did it here, but that's just to show me how.
I was just showing you how it works,
You
yeah.
do wait until you have it completely.
Complete level first, and then think of the stabilizers, they lock it in place.
Okay.
You don't want to move this thing,
Okay.
leveling it when those are down.
Okay. that
Otherwise
makes
you'll
sense.
break it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, any questions on that?
Nope.
All good? Okay.